Congress is about to pass a bill that blows away your taxpayer money, but they made it over 1,500 pages long so you wouldn't read it. I did you a favor. I read it for you. It's supposed to be about keeping government operations open and providing disaster relief aid to hurricane victims, which I'm sympathetic to. But if you read the bill carefully, it contains pay raises for members of Congress, and I'm not making this up, an expansion of their federal health benefits. It contains all kinds of special interests and pork funding, including opening up a new stadium in Washington, D.C. It renews the Global Engagement Center, which is a key node of the censorship industrial complex. And the worst part is, they didn't want you to know about any of it, and that's why they made this a last-minute jam job. The reason I'm co-heading DOGE is I think we need outsiders to bring actual accountability to Washington, D.C. So feel free to call your congressman and let him know how you feel about it.
We don't have a choice. We have to fund those. We have to fund FEMA. We have to fund our farmers.
Right. And Mr. Speaker, it's not just, so you've got a bunch of Republicans who are angry at you. They don't like this. And just in a couple of weeks, you're going to stand once again to run for Speaker of the House. And you don't need a bunch of Democrats mad at you. But you know, and this is breaking news you do not know. You know who also does not like this? Elon Musk, the world's richest man, just tweeted, this bill should not pass.
Guys, we got to talk about this crazy spending bill, okay? This thing has caused this massive uproar, and for good reason, okay? Speaker Johnson, this dude has been kind of whack. Like, he's an okay guy, but he tends to just let the Democrats get their way too often, and this is clearly a bridge too far because there's so many things in this bill that are just ridiculous. I'm going to show you right here on the screen. Look, according to Grok, 45 billion Ukraine funding, full stop. We didn't need to see the rest, and trust me, it gets worse. There's a reason why Marjorie Taylor Greene was trying to take this man out before when they were passing all them trillion-dollar spending bills.
Mike Johnson going in there and basically giving a sloppy kiss to Hakeem Jeffries, and Jeffries taking him in with a great big hug and them holding and sharing the speaker's gavel together. That's what's wrong for America. Hakeem Jeffries and the entire leadership team is fully supporting Mike Johnson's speakership. They're only doing that because Mike Johnson is delivering their agenda.
So this guy has a pretty bad history of letting the Democrats get their way. This is literally the same reason why Kevin McCarthy was ousted for doing these backroom deals with the radical leftists and allowing them to have their way, basically being the op, like being a undercover operative for the other side, okay, a turncoat, an agent. Okay, he was working for the enemy the entire time. And this is kind of the energy that Mike Johnson is giving because he just feels like he just wants to get along with the Democrats so bad that he just wants to let them have their way. Let's look at one of the ridiculous things that we have here. Elon Musk says this is insane. You have, as part of this continuing resolution, it prevents the DOJ from investigating Congress. A court of competent jurisdiction shall quash or modify any legal process directed to the provider for a House office if compliance with the legal process will require the disclosure of House data of the House office. Basically, you can't do anything to Congress. I'm sure that they'll try to circumvent this if they want to investigate Republicans, but this is to protect the Democrats for that whole January 6th fiasco in the January 6th committee and how they deleted the evidence and lied about the National Guard and lied under oath and all that stuff. Yeah, they got protections in here. According to Elon Musk, these people should be primary. It says any member of the House or Senate who votes for this outrageous spending bill deserves to be voted out in 2 years. Okay, so Donald Trump, he said the same thing. Now, I'm not going to read his whole statement here, but look, sounds like the ridiculous and extraordinarily expensive continuing resolution plus is dying fast. Okay, so Donald Trump, he knows it. At this point, it looks like this whole thing is dead in the water. As a matter of fact, he also says that any Republican that would be so stupid as to do this should and will be primaried. Okay, so Elon Musk is saying he gonna primary that Al, and Donald Trump saying the same thing, because you don't want Donald Trump campaigning against you, and you don't want Elon Musk to be throwing his money behind somebody else because you decided you wanted to support radical left Democrats. I understand there is some spending in here for disaster relief and stuff like that, that the radical leftists used on illegal migrants. It's nobody's fault if they did that and they blew their load a little too early. They could have just as easily passed a bill that had this funding for additional FEMA and disaster aid. There's aid for farmers, all sorts of stuff without this other nonsense in it. So this is another play by the radical leftists to say, well, hey, the Republicans killed another bill. They killed another bill. These people are so evil. They don't want to support our farmers. They don't want to support people who need additional relief in North Carolina, in Florida. Like, this is their play. They always do this. And now that you have places like X, these people are getting exposed. The old tricks are not gonna work anymore, guys. Now I'm gonna react to this video where they're discussing this massive fallout with Elon Musk, Donald Trump, JD Vance, and Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. It's getting nasty out here. Let's get into it.
We're told right now in the past 30 or 40 minutes here that they might try to pull this interim spending bill off the floor and maybe just go.
Breaking news for you. While I was recording this, it appears as though the bill is dead. But
with
let's keep
a
going.
clean bill, unclear what that means for disaster assistance. Here's what happened. A post on X by Elon Musk sent shockwaves through the Capitol. House Republicans were trying to see if they have enough votes to pass the spending bill in the next hour or two. Musk posted that anyone who votes yes should lose their office in 2 years.
Boom.
And lawmakers are scrambling.
The tweets from Musk, has that complicated this?
Well, I mean, I think that there's always a lot of interest in what's happening up here, and
this is more than interest. They're telling people if they vote yes, they should be voted out.
The social media world.
That's what you need to do. Instill that fear, like, hey, you're going to lose your job.
Is a part of our politics, and I think members have to expect that. There will be a lot of hard votes in the next couple of years.
A member of the House Republican leadership told Fox that Musk is not helping. The lawmaker added that Musk has bigger fish to fry than picking a fight with House Republicans. One source said the bill is now bleeding support from the GOP. When asked how many Democrats the GOP needs to pass the bill, a senior aide replied, quote, a lot. Lawmakers who had hurricanes devastate their districts are torn.
The fact is that, look, this is a sandwich. I don't know how else to say that. We're being forced into this position. They could have done a standalone. They did this because they knew that it would put members in this position to support it. We're damned if we do. We're damned if we don't.
That's what I said
earlier. Now, the bill has about $100 billion in disaster relief, nearly $30 billion to restock FEMA's coffers, and there are lots of health care provisions. Jamming everything together in one bill means some Republicans will not support Mike Johnson for Speaker in January.
Have any other of your colleagues said that they're not voting for Johnson? Expressed?
I've talked to a few, who don't seem like they're going to vote for him. You have to ask them. I'm not going to betray anybody's position.
Will you just vote president, or will you vote someone else's?
I'll vote for somebody else.
Oh.
Now, Johnson can only lose one vote and still win the Speaker's race on January 3rd. Some Republicans ask how things are different with a spending bill like this under Johnson than former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The funding deadline is Friday night. Neil?
There is no difference. This guy is Kevin McCarthy 2.0. The only thing we haven't heard about is Johnson having secret conversations, but he's still having conversations basically openly with the radical leftists, negotiating these deals, not telling his Republican colleagues about it, and then just shows up with a 1,500-page bill with a bunch of nonsense in it. Did I forget to mention that it also includes a pay increase for Congress right in the middle of the holiday season, where a bunch of people don't hardly have any money to afford groceries, much less Christmas gifts. However, Congress decided at this time to up their pay after all of this. Of course, they waited until after the election to do this. Guys, this is just shameful whether you're a Democrat or Republican to go along with this. One of these dummies didn't even know that this was in the bill. Like, if you don't know, how the hell are you going to vote for something if you don't even know what was in it?
Members are giving themselves a pay raise. Do you guys deserve a pay raise?
Well, that's news to me. It's good news. You know, what has it been, 10 years or 14 years and no COLA, no change at all? I think it's about time something's done.
You support giving yourselves a pay raise?
How would I not know about a pay raise?
But I mean, people look at the performance of Congress and say, why should we give them more money?
What about the media? Think about that for a second.
And we're not paid by public money.
I know you're not, but I mean, half of your listeners are not there anymore. You're still getting the same paycheck? What's going on?
Well, I mean, your taxpayer money. I mean, you guys deserve a raise. And Durbin essentially said that, yes, they should give themselves a raise. And what also is noticeable, though, to Jim, he wasn't aware that this was in the provision. Yeah. And he's the number 2 Senate Democrat. It just shows you how this was negotiated among a handful of members, and they're going to have to vote on this. And members really won't have time to read it either, Jim.
Unreal. But Manu, I have to say, you are worth every penny. Manu Raju up on Capitol Hill for us. Thank you.
Now, according to Mediaite.com, Republicans have now scrapped the bill that would help avoid the government shutdown that's allegedly going to occur on Friday. Well, you know what? Who the hell cares? Just bring a new bill. I'm tired of people trying to act like they're so afraid of these government shutdowns. If the government doesn't work the way we need it to, who the hell cares? We still got, and this is federal government. We still got, not the federal government doesn't even shut down all the way, by the way, but you still got the federal government basically still operating in a lot of ways. And you have state and local governments, which is usually what impacts the majority of people directly anyway. The federal government shut down for a week, 2 weeks, month. Most people aren't even going to freaking notice. I feel for the people out there in the Carolinas who need disaster relief and anyone else who needs some additional FEMA funds and disaster relief and so forth. However, you can't just be throwing in Ukraine funding, immunity for Democrats who committed crimes. You're going to have to, Joe Biden will have to pardon them or something because they need to go. They need to be in trouble. They need to be paying legal fees. Everything that need to happen to them that's bad need to happen to them. And anything else, they got new stuff for pandemic stuff, like new expanded pandemic powers. There's so much stuff in this bill. It's freaking ridiculous. It needs to be destroyed. And the radical left is trying to get away with everything at the last freaking minute. They think they slick, but no, they got busted. And this is why they hate X. They hate podcasts. They hate people like me. They hate anybody who's going to get out there and expose the real information on what's in these big bills. Just think about it. Before platforms like X, and before stuff like YouTube and people actually, making videos about this sort of stuff, you guys wouldn't have a clue what the hell was in these bills, and they would probably turn around and pass it. And meanwhile, like, man, what happened? How is so much more inflation going on? Why is all these stupid government powers in place? How come things aren't going the way that we thought they were going to go? It's because a lot of these Republicans are sellouts. Like, of course, we know the Democrats are bad, but not all the Republicans are good either. This is why we got to keep our head on the swivel, guys. We got to hold these people accountable. And sometimes you really got to call out your own, like Mike Johnson. I'm sorry, bruh. Look, you did all right, but you made a lot of mistakes. You got to go. We need somebody tough in the White House, and you're not it. Those are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. Elon Musk, you really came through today. I'm out.
If you vote yes on that CR bill, your ass is grass. Play with us if you want to. Try us. Play with us. Play with us if you want to. I triple double dare you to play with us if you want to.